for this feedback. I'm not just choosing people at random, but you can go check out my channel to see previous audits. I do a lot of different industries, and I have a whole lot of more industries coming in the next few months. So today we are looking at Megan Ward's website. She is an educator and helps people with email marketing. And we're really going to be looking at how to turn a pretty good website into a great website, because Megan's website is actually pretty great. But as I was looking at it earlier, I saw some things that I think could just be tweaked to make this even better. So I think this will be some good takeaways and little nuggets for you all to take back to your own website and see, oh, like, is that something I need to kind of look at on my website? If you have questions as I am going through this, feel free to pop them in the chat and I will I will answer you. Or if you're watching the replay, let me know in the comments and I can come back and answer also. So without further ado, Megan's website. The first thing that I want to kind of point out, a few things actually. This first screen that we see everything on, I've not scrolled or clicked on anything. It's pretty busy. Specifically this background banner up here with the text. But there's also, then we have this bar with text and logos and an image of her podcast. And then we have this logo banner. Like, there's a lot of elements going on, and just if I kind of zoom out, like, I just see a lot of little pieces everywhere. So first thing I would do is probably simplify this background banner or make the opacity a little thicker, just so it's one less busy element. And then I would probably simplify this podcast banner. I'm also wondering, now obviously I don't know the ins and outs of Megan's business, but I know as I scroll down that she has courses. And so obviously she's really good at email marketing. She wants to get people on her email list. But we're sending people, we have 3 buttons right here, and then we are sending them again to the podcast. So from an outside perspective, I'm led to believe that her podcast is maybe really good about leading people either into buying a course or getting on her email list. If not, then I would question why this is here. If that is not a main driver in her business, I would not make it front and center like it is right now. I would also probably remove, because we're calling out the podcast right here with the button, and then again 2 inches later we're calling it out here. So I would probably recommend removing the button so we don't have a redundant call out so close to each other. So that's something I would change there. This, as seen in, I do think it's really good for a credibility piece. I think it could maybe be arranged a little bit differently or simplified a little bit, and maybe all of the logos are displayed elsewhere, and just on the home page we simplify it down to like 4 or 5. And then we have the free resources. Again, I'm assuming Megan teaches email marketing. She's good at email marketing. She's good at converting people from her email list. So I'm assuming that's why she is prioritizing the free resources first. But I want to emphasize that because if you yourself don't convert people well from your email list, this would not be a good strategy for you, because then you are getting people on an email list, they leave your website, they aren't clicking over to your services, your products, whatever, and now they're on your email list, but then what? And so that's something to think about, is how are you marketing? Where do you get your best conversions? Doesn't mean you can't also work on your email marketing. I mean, go buy some of Megan's courses or templates if you need help with email. But I just want you to think about, does this make sense for currently how things are working? Doesn't mean you couldn't take one of the courses and then in the future kind of adapt your homepage to then get people on your email list and prioritize the free resources. But for a lot of people, just sending them straight to your services, your sales pages is going to be a better strategy for your website instead of these freebies. Then down here, we have the courses that she's kind of highlighting her best sellers, some templates, some sequences. So I love this. And then we have some other calls to action. Honestly, I would delete these two sections. We've already called out the education, blog, and shop. And then again, we're calling out the blog again when it's right here. And so I would just get rid of these two sections. They feel like fluff, and I don't think they're necessary right here. Obviously, there's some like text kind of overlapping here. That's not a deal breaker. That can be fixed, but just a little detail right there. And then she has a lot of quick links in the footer, which is good because it looks like she has a few different kind of offers, different things. And so this kind of quick links is good to have in the footer so people can easily access it from anywhere on the site. This type of footer is not necessary for every type of business because sometimes people want this kind of fancy, more filled up footer, and they don't have the links to put there. Their links are just the about page, the blog, and one sales page, which are accessible in the navigation. Not to say it's bad, but just don't feel like you have to have one of these footers unless you really feel like you have things to list there. So those are some of the tweaks I would make on the homepage, and just, like I said, some things for y'all to think about on your own website. I also want to point out she doesn't have a logo up in the navigation. And while you don't have to have a logo, I would just type out a business name. I have several clients who do this. They don't have a logo yet. They don't have the finances. I just type out their name in like a brand font. Like I would use this font probably. And then because it's pretty customary, that's what I'm trying to say, that you can click on the logo to go back to the homepage. And so just having that there, it's a small piece, but I would just add that. Then I would hop over to the speaking page because we haven't talked about a speaking page yet in any of these audits. So this is where Megan is saying, hey, you can hire me to come speak at your event, your membership, anything like that. Again, I would change this banner up here because this text is a little bit difficult to read. And so I would just, instead of having you kind of overlaid with this opacity, I would just either make it more like increase the opacity and it's just more like a desk stock photo or something, or do a split screen where you are full opacity and the text is over on the other side. And it's maybe just white background, a pink background or something behind the text instead of overlaid on top. It can be really tricky putting text on top of images. This is one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make on their websites. Not that it is a big mistake. It doesn't always look professional. Sometimes it's hard to read, so then you lose people, especially on mobile. Sometimes things look funky. So it's just, this is definitely still easy to read, but there are instances where I've been on people's websites and I'm like, why is this text on top of this image? Because I cannot read it. So just be careful if you are doing that. One thing I would change here is when I build speaking pages for people who have speaking built into their business is, this is a bio, but you want it to be a third person bio so that event leaders and organizers can come here and grab the bio to list on their website, on the event materials, anything like that. Especially because sometimes event organizers are making lists of, okay, here's like 5 people we could potentially have come speak, and then they have to present it to their boss, the committee, whatever. And so if they can just grab that bio to have available for their boss, the committee, it helps, it helps you look better also. And they're not kind of piecing together some kind of whatever. Also making either a media kit or your headshots available can also be beneficial. Not required, but an added bonus. Love that she has the signature presentations. Always advocate for this to be included on a speaking page. I would be cautious about using a gold font. Gold is better than yellow, but it still can be tricky. So I would probably advocate for changing this to pink instead of yellow, especially gold on top of another color, just for accessibility reasons. And then I would separate out these testimonials because people don't always click. And also I can't click back to the other one. And so I would move these up and put the testimonials like underneath the photos of you, or put them up here, like have your about, your bio, and then have the two testimonials side by side instead of at the bottom where they might get lost and forgotten. So also think about that. Let's hop over to, I was going to go to the education page. So this is where her courses are laid out. The first thing, there's no menu on this page. So would probably add that back in. We need that because we haven't been redirected to a different domain. I know sometimes people have courses or offers on a subdomain, and it kind of basically it's like on another platform sometimes, and they've kind of integrated into their website. It doesn't appear that that's the case here. It just seems the menu was maybe forgotten real quick. This one, I like that the white box is here, so we're not competing with the text and the photo back here. It still is a little bit busy, so I would maybe think about changing that background photo again. And then down here, I love the mock-ups. There's icons, the titles, learn more. A few things I would change. The spacing between like the icons and the titles and the text seems to vary a little bit. Now I'm getting super nitpicky, but that's my job. So I would just kind of look at that and make sure, because like there's more space in between the envelope and the K, and down here there's not. Also, this looks like the School of Email is a different size font. Then there's a lot of space between the title and this text. So consistency there, just for consistency. And then I would put more space in between, because again, we have a lot going on with the mock-ups and the colors. I would probably double the space right here in between each of these rows. So not a ton. We don't need like lots of white space. That's awkward and is excessive, but just a little bit more, because it feels very, very squished right now. And my eyes feel a little overwhelmed of like, where do I want to look first? And then glad that we have a nice testimonial down here. This is different formatting than the testimonials on the previous page. So I would look at those two and kind of stick to one format of the testimonials, again, just for consistency. Those little details add up and make everything feel more cohesive. So just kind of paying attention to those. I think this bar and this bestsellers are unnecessary on this page, because especially this, like we already have the links up here, so we don't need that. Or, well, these are templates and sequences, not the courses, but it doesn't say anything about like other products or anything like that. So either add some context, or since this page is really focusing on the courses, just let the sequences, the templates speak for themselves on another page. If you want, you could link to them elsewhere, like maybe have a call out over here, like, oh, if you're not looking for a course, if you want a template, hop over here. So that would be the last thing. But see, there's no logo for me to click home and no menu. So we would just tweak that to kind of fix that little thing. And then this come join my Facebook community is a different font, and it's not in a line. It's like not aligned with any of the other text. So that would be something else to think about. What I love is that she's made some of these things a different color. So she's really trying to draw attention to them, which can be beneficial. And so something like that can, just a little color change can be an easy way to kind of call attention to something. And not just in navigation, but on a page too. But you don't often see this as something that people do. And so just want to give that as an idea for y'all. So that concludes today's website audit. I hope these kind of tweaks and call outs were helpful for you. Again, think about what I talked about in regards to your own website and little tweaks that you need. If you need help, you want to work with a designer, the link to my services are listed in the video description below. Otherwise, I will see y'all next week for another website audit.